Tabling. Letting one beam piece into another. See scarfing. Also, the broad hem on the borders of sails, to which the bolt rope is sewed. Tack. To put a ship about, so that from having the wind on one side, you bring it round on the other by the way of her head, the opposite of wearing. A vessel is on the starboard tack, or has her starboard tacks on board, when she has the wind on her starboard side. The rope or tackle by which the weather clew of a course is hauled forward and down to the deck. The tack of a fore and aft sail is the rope that keeps down the lower forward clew, and of a studding sail, the lower outer clew. The tack of the lower studding sail is called the outhaul, also that part of a sail to which the tack is attached. Tackle. Pronounced tackle. A purchase formed by a rope rove through one or more blocks. Taffrail or taffrail. The rail round a ship's stern. Tail. A rope spliced into the end of a block and used for making it fast to rigging or spars. Such a block is called a tail block. A ship is said to tail up or downstream when at anchor, according as her stern swings up or down with the tide, in opposition to heading one way or another, which is said of a vessel when underway. Tail tackle, a watch tackle. See page 46. Tail on or tally on, an order given to take hold of a rope and pull. Tank, an iron vessel placed in the hold to contain the vessel's water. Tar, a liquid gum taken from pine and fir trees and used for caulking, and to put upon yarns in rope making and upon standing rigging, to protect it from the weather. Tarpaulin, a piece of canvas covered with tar, used for covering hatches, boats, etc. Also, the name commonly given to a sailor's hat when made of tarred or painted cloth. Taunt, high or tall, commonly applied to a vessel's masts. All a taunto, said of a vessel when she has all her light and tall masts and spars aloft. Taut, tight. Telltale, a compass hanging from the beams of the cabin, by which the heading of a vessel may be known at any time. Also, an instrument connected with the barrel of the wheel, and traversing so that the officer may see the position of the wheel. Tend, to watch a vessel at anchor at the turn of tides, and cast her by the helm, and some sail if necessary, so as to keep turns out of her cables. Tenon, the heel of a mast, made to fit into the step. Thick and thin block, a block having one sheave larger than the other, sometimes used for quarter blocks. Thimble, an iron ring, having its rim concave on the outside for a rope or strap to fit snugly round. Thole pins, pins in the gunwale of a boat, between which an oar rests when pulling, instead of a rowlock. Throat, the inner end of a gaff, where it widens and hollows in to fit the mast. See jaws. Also the hollow part of a knee. The throat brails, halyards, etc. are those that hoist or haul up the gaff or sail near the throat. Also the angle where the arm of an anchor is joined to the shank. Thrum, to stick short strands of yarn through a mat or piece of canvas to make a rough surface. Thwarts, the seats going across a boat upon which the oarsmen sit. Thwartships, see athwartships. Tide, to tide up or down a river or harbor is to work up or down with a fair tide and headwind or calm, coming to anchor when the tide turns. Tide road, the situation of a vessel at anchor when she swings by the force of the tide, in opposition to wind road. Tier, a range of casks. Also the range of the fakes of a cable or hawser. The cable tier is the place in a hold or between decks where the cables are stowed. Tiller. A bar of wood or iron put into the head of the rudder, by which the rudder is moved. Tiller ropes. Ropes leading from the tiller head round the barrel of the wheel, by which a vessel is steered. Timber. A general term for all large pieces of wood used in shipbuilding. Also, more particularly, long pieces of wood in a curved form, bending outward and running from the keel up on each side, forming the ribs of a vessel. The keel, stem, sternposts, and timbers form a vessel's outer frame. See Plate 3. Timber heads. See Plate 3. The ends of the timbers that come above the decks, used for belaying hawsers and large ropes. Timinogai. A rope carried taut between different parts of the vessel to prevent the sheet or tack of a course from getting foul in working ship. Toggle. A pin placed through the bight or eye of a rope, block strap, or bolt to keep it in its place, or to put the bight or eye of another rope upon, and thus to secure them both together. Tompion. A bung or plug placed in the mouth of a cannon. Top. A platform placed over the head of a lower mast, resting on the trestle trees, to spread the rigging and for the convenience of men aloft. See Plate 1. To top up a yard or boom is to raise up one end of it by hoisting on the lift. Top block. A large iron-bound block hooked into a bolt under the lower cap and used for the top rope to reeve through in sending up and down topmasts. Top light. A signal lantern carried in the top. Top lining. A lining on the after part of sails to prevent them from chafing against the top rim. Top mast. See Plate 1. The second mast above the deck, next above the lower mast. Top gallant mast. See Plate 1. The third mast above the deck. Top rope. The rope used for sending topmasts up and down. Top sail. See Plate 2. The second sail above the deck. Top gallant sail. See Plate 2. The third sail above the deck. Topping lift. See Plate 1. A lift used for topping up the end of a boom. Top timbers. The highest timbers on a vessel's side, being above the futtocks. See Plate 3. Toss. To throw an oar out of the rowlock, and raise it perpendicularly on its end, and lay it down in the boat, with its blade forward. Touch. A sail is said to touch when the wind strikes the leech so as to shake it a little. Luff and touch her. The order to bring the vessel up and see how near she will go to the wind. Tow. To draw a vessel along by means of a rope. Train tackle. The tackle used for running guns in and out. Transoms. See Plate 3. Pieces of timber going across the sternpost, to which they are bolted. Transom knees. Knees bolted to the transoms and after timbers. Traveler. An iron ring, fitted so as to slip up and down a rope. Treenails, or trunnels. Long wooden pins, used for nailing a plank to a timber. Trend. The lower end of the shank of an anchor, being the same distance on the shank from the throat that the arm measures from the throat to the bill. Trestle trees. Two strong pieces of timber, placed horizontally and fore and aft on opposite sides of a masthead, to support the cross trees and top, and for the fid of the mast above to rest upon. Triadic stay. A rope secured at each end to the heads of the fore and mainmasts, with thimbles spliced into its bight to hook the stay tackles to. Trice. To haul up by means of a rope. Trick. The time allotted to a man to stand at the helm. Trim. The condition of a vessel. With reference to her cargo and ballast, a vessel is trimmed by the head or by the stern. In ballast trim is when she has only ballast on board. Also to arrange the sails by the braces with reference to the wind. Trip. To raise an anchor clear of the bottom. Tripping line. A line used for tripping a topgallant or royal yard in sending it down. Truck. A circular piece of wood, placed at the head of the highest mast on a ship. It has small holes or sheaves in it for signal halyards to be rove through. Also, the wheel of a gun carriage. Trunnions. The arms on each side of a cannon by which it rests upon the carriage, and on which, as an axis, it is elevated or depressed. Truss. The rope by which the center of a lower yard is kept in toward the mast. Trysail. A fore and aft sail, set with a boom and gaff, and hoisting on a small mast abaft the lower mast, calling a trysail mast. This name is generally confined to the sail so carried at the mainmast of a full-rigged brig, those carried at the foremast and at the mainmast of a ship or bark being called spencers, and those that are at the mizzenmast of a ship or bark, spankers. Tumbling home. Set of a ship's sides when they fall in above the bends, the opposite of wall-sided. Turn. Passing a rope once or twice around a pin or kevel to keep it fast. Also, 2 crosses in a cable. To turn in or turn out, nautical terms for going to rest in a berth or hammock and getting up from them. Turn up, the order given to send the men up from between decks. Tie. A rope connected with a yard, to the other end of which a tackle is attached for hoisting. Unbend. To cast off or untie. See bend. Union. The upper inner corners of an ensign. The rest of the flag is called the fly. The union of the U.S. ensign is a blue field with white stars, and the fly is composed of alternate white and red stripes. Union down. The situation of a flag when it is hoisted upside down, bringing the union down instead of up. Used as a signal of distress. Union jack. A small flag containing only the union without the fly, usually hoisted at the bowsprit cap. Unmoor. To heave up one anchor so that the vessel may ride at a single anchor. See moor. Unship. See ship. Euvro. See euvro. Vane. A fly worn at the masthead, made of feathers or bunting, traversing on a spindle to show the direction of the wind. See dog vane. Vang. See plate 1. A rope leading from the peak of the gaff of a fore and aft sail to the rail on each side, and used for steadying the gaff. Vast. See avast. Veer. Said of the wind when it changes. Also, to slack a cable and let it run out. See pay. To veer and haul is to haul and slack alternately on a rope, as in warping, until the vessel or boat gets headway. Viol or voyal. A larger messenger sometimes used in weighing an anchor by a capstan. Also, the block through which the messenger passes. Waist. That part of the upper deck between the quarterdeck and forecastle. Waisters. Green hands or broken-down seamen, placed in the waist of a man of war. Wake. The track or path a ship leaves behind her in the water. Whales. Strong planks in a vessel's sides running her whole length fore and aft. Wall. A knot put on the end of a rope. See plate 5, page 37. Wall-sided. A vessel is wall-sided when her sides run up perpendicularly from the bends, in opposition to tumbling home or flaring out. Wardroom. The room in a vessel of war in which the commissioned officers live. Wear or wear. To turn a vessel round, so that from having the wind on one side, you bring it upon the other, carrying her stern round by the wind. In tacking, the same result is produced by carrying a vessel's head round by the wind. Warp. To move a vessel from one place to another by means of a rope made fast to some fixed object, or to a kedge. A warp is a rope used for warping. If the warp is bent to a kedge which is let go, and the vessel is hove ahead by the capstan or windlass, it would be called kedging. Washboards. Light pieces of board placed above the gunwale of a boat. Watch. See page 178. A division of time on board ship. There are 7 watches in a day, reckoning from 12 midnight round through the 24 hours, 5 of them being of 4 hours each, and the 2 others, called dog watches, of 2 hours each, viz. from 4 to 6 and from 6 to 8 p.m. See dog watch. Also, a certain portion of a ship's company, appointed to stand a given length of time. In the merchant service, all hands are divided into 2 watches, larboard and starboard, with a mate to command each. A buoy is said to watch when it floats on the surface. Watch and watch, the arrangement by which the watches are alternated every other 4 hours, in distinction from keeping all hands during 1 or more watches. See page 178. Anchor watch, a small watch of 1 or 2 men, kept while in port. Watch ho! Watch! The cry of the man that heaves the deep sea lead. Watch tackle, see page 46. A small luff purchase with a short fall, the double block having a tail to it, and the single one a hook, used for various purposes about decks. Water sail, a save-all set under the swinging boom. Waterways, long pieces of timber running fore and aft on both sides, connecting the deck with the vessel's sides. The scuppers are made through them to let the water off. See plate 3. Where, see where. Weather, in the direction from which the wind blows. See windward, lee. A ship carries a weather helm when she tends to come up into the wind, requiring you to put the helm up. Weather gauge. A vessel has the weather gauge of another when she is to windward of her. A weatherly ship is one that works well to windward, making but little leeway. Weather bit. To make an additional turn with a cable round the windlass end. Weather roll. The roll which a ship makes to windward. Weigh. To lift up, as to weigh an anchor or a mast. Wheel. The instrument by which a ship is steered, being a barrel, round which the tiller ropes go, and a wheel with spokes. Whip. See page 46. A purchase formed by a rope rove through a single block. To whip is to hoist by a whip. Also to secure the end of a rope from fagging by a seizing of twine. Whip upon whip, one whip applied to the fall of another. Winch. A purchase formed by a horizontal spindle or shaft with a wheel or crank at the end. A small one with a wheel is used for making ropes or spun yarn. Windlass. The machine used in merchant vessels to weigh the anchor by. Windroad. The situation of a vessel at anchor when she swings and rides by the force of the wind, instead of the tide or current. See tide road. Wing. That part of the hold or between decks which is next the side. Wingers. Casks stowed in the wings of a vessel. Wing and wing. The situation of a fore and aft vessel when she is going dead before the wind, with her foresail hauled over on one side and her mainsail on the other. Withe or withe. An iron instrument fitted on the end of a boom or mast, with a ring to it through which another boom or mast is rigged out and secured. Wooled. To wind a piece of rope round a spar. Work up. To draw the yarns from old rigging and make them into spun yarn, foxes, sennet, etc. Also a phrase for keeping a crew constantly at work upon needless matters, and in all weathers, and beyond their usual hours, for punishment. Worm. See page 34. To fill up between the lays of a rope with small stuff wound round spirally. Stuff so wound round is called worming. Ring. To bend or strain a mast by setting the rigging up too taut. Ring bolts. Bolts that secure the planks to the timbers. Ring staves. Strong pieces of plank used with the ring bolts. Yacht. Pronounced yacht. A vessel of pleasure or state. Yard. See plate 1. A long piece of timber, tapering slightly toward the ends and hung by the center to a mast, to spread the square sails upon. Yardarm. The extremities of a yard. Yardarm and yardarm, the situation of two vessels lying alongside one another, so near that their yardarms cross or touch. Yarn, see rope yard. Yaw, the motion of a vessel when she goes off from her course. Yeoman, a man employed in a vessel of war to take charge of a storeroom, as boatswain's yeoman, the man that has charge of the stores of rigging, etc. Yoke, a piece of wood placed across the head of a boat's rudder, with a rope attached to each end, by which the boat is steered.